our last step is finally drafting and implementing the plan. So once you've kind of gone through all these steps, you've got the flight plan together, you've had the conversations, you've set the goals, you've made the plan, you need to assemble the team to get everything drafted. And so that's going to need to include an attorney, an accountant, or some other sort of tax professional. You may need to loop your lender in depending on the situation with your any sort of loan, and you may need to have some of the family members involved. So now it's time to actually do the work we keep talking about preparing to do. Once you have those documents drafted, you also need to continue to evaluate and revise them as things come up. I guarantee you things will change after you write this. You will think of something you forgot. Someone's going to have a baby. Somebody's going to die. You're going to have to change them. You need to periodically review them to make sure everything is still up to date. So what I recommend and what I do is every year I go back through and just flip through our flight plan to make sure we don't need to change anything. I do it on January 1st. Some people might do it on their birthday. It doesn't matter. Just pick a day where you flip through. It takes 5 minutes, but it may let you flag something that you otherwise would have missed. In addition to those documents, you also need to check those beneficiaries. I can't overstate how important that is, because a lot of times when you get life insurance or retirement, it's when you start your job and you don't look back at that till you retire 30 years later, okay? Let me give you a horror story on this. There was a case that came out of the Dallas Court of Appeals, and there was a man who started his job, I think it was at the post office, and he got $350,000 life insurance. When he started his job, he was single, and he listed his girlfriend as the beneficiary. You can see where this is going to go, right? Lists the girlfriend. They break up because, if you read between the lines, I think there may have been some overlap with him and his now wife. Okay, so girlfriend and wife don't get along. He marries this other woman. They have kids. 10 years later, he dies. His will says everything goes to my wife. She calls to collect the $350,000 in life insurance, and they say, sorry, you're not the beneficiary. The ex-girlfriend is. The lady's like, no, he changed it. I saw he had the form to change it. And she found the form in his desk, unfiled. So they end up in court, and the court said, look, it doesn't matter what the will says. He didn't change that. The $350,000 check was cut to the ex-girlfriend. And given the relationship with her and the wife, she kept it. You have to check your beneficiaries. You also should think before you put your girlfriend as a beneficiary on anything, but that's another story for another day. Okay, and then again, make sure you review these after any major life events: death, divorce, birth. The other one that can be big is the purchase or sale of property. You may need to review what you've got done. So for example, if you've got transfer on death deeds drafted for all the property you own, if you buy a new piece of land, don't forget to do it there, right? And again, so some people will say, well, I don't need a will because we have transfer on death deeds or beneficiaries for everything. What if you forgot? Or what if you bought that land and didn't have it done yet and you get hit by a bus, right? Have that simple will, even if all it says is everything goes to my wife or everything goes to my trust or whatever, just to cover you in case there's something that you forgot about or just missed or didn't have time to do. The last thing we'll mention some additional resources. Make sure that you've got a copy of the handbook that the Texas Corn Producers Association put together to go along with this program. There are a few other, you can Google this and find lots of resources. Here are a few of kind of my favorites. There's a worksheet from Ohio State University called Getting Your Farm and Family Affairs in Order. Frankly, I don't think it's going to have a lot that the workbook you got from the corn producers doesn't have, but it's just another resource. If you want a handbook to do some serious reading on this topic, Oklahoma State University has something called Farm Transitions, which is about a 200-page handbook. Not like worksheets, but just a handbook to really read about all these different issues in detail. That's a great worksheet as well. You look up the Farm Journal Legacy Project. They've got a number of publications. The Iowa State Ag Decision Maker is a great tool. And then Annie's Project is a program that goes on around the country specifically for farm and ranch women. They've got some worksheets available that may be helpful as well. So the last thing I want to say on this topic is why go through the hassle? Listen, if you have watched this entire video, I know that your head is spinning. It's like drinking from a fire hose. I talk too fast. I know all of these things. And you may think, why? I just don't think I can handle all of this. The reason you go through the hassle is because of these kids, right? At our farm, if we do this right, my kids are going to be the 4th generation there. Okay? Here's a picture of us this summer. My dad taught me to irrigate out of that concrete ditch in that field, and this summer he taught my little boy to do the same thing. And I'm telling you, if I can make sure that continues to happen for the next generations of our family, that's worth a lot of hassle to me. So keep in mind the end goal while you're slogging through the kind of the tedious details that we're telling you are important. With that, I want to mention just a couple of additional resources that I have. If you're interested in agricultural law, you can check out my blog. It's called the Texas Agriculture Law Blog. You can just Google that. It'll pop right up. You'll see a box that pops up. I know that's annoying. But if you put your email address in there and subscribe, anything I post will come directly to you as an email. And so if we do any checklists or a new case comes out or the estate tax rules change, we'll post about that there. So if you're interested in agricultural law, I think that would be a resource you could find useful. I also have a podcast. Now, we've mentioned this a couple times during the show. If you're a podcast listener, everywhere you get your podcast, just search for Ag Law in the Field. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say podcast, that's all right. You can listen on your computer. And if you go to the website you see here, it's aglaw.libsyn.com, what you're going to find is just a list of about 90 episodes where I interview an ag lawyer about a different topic. It's audio only. We've done everything from estate planning to water law to landowner liability to fence law, mental health. There's 90 of them. So you can listen to those for free. Just scroll down and pick the topic you want and push the triangle that means play. And you can listen to those on your computer for free. So with that, I'm going to give you my contact information as well. My phone number, my email are here. I'm on social media, so if you're on Facebook or Twitter, feel free to follow me. If you have other questions after today, if I can be of more assistance, please feel free to contact me. And with that, I think that we will wrap up our program. We want to make sure and say thank you to the Texas Corn Producers Association. They wrote this grant that's called Who's Gonna Fill My Shoes? And this project was funded by the Southern Extension Risk Management Education Center. And without their grant funding, this course, as well as the workbook that they put together, wouldn't be possible. So we really appreciate them, and we appreciate your time today.